Hi, I'm Chris Haigh and this is the Fiddle channel, and today we're going to play a Michael Jackson song, Smooth Criminal. Smooth Criminal was a request from Miranda, one of my supporters on Patreon. And people on my Patreon, they ask me for all sorts of different songs and tunes. And I am as surprised as can be when I get a request like this. And I think they're often as surprised as can be that I will actually say yes and have a go. So this actually turns out to be a great song for the fiddle. And you never know until you try. It's got a really nice riff at the beginning, well, two riffs actually, and really good use of chopping that you can do and the intro. And the solo section, the A minor to G to F to G, is really good for improvising. And so I'm going to show you all the different bits, and I'm going to have a lot of fun doing the improvising. We're using a karaoke backing track, so it's a pretty fair representation of what goes on in the background of the song. So we start off with this opening lick played on the kind of bass synth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Notice I'm playing it all down at the heel. I'm playing it really hard. I kind of I'm lifting off for almost every note, so I can really hit them. Now this really begs for a chop. Now, chopping is something that is, it takes a long time to learn, but this particular application, where all you're doing is banging, it's not really that hard. So all we're doing is banging the bow down hard and holding it down. You don't have to do anything fancy about twisting the bow or going forwards or any of that. Just that bang and holding it. So it definitely mustn't bounce. And we're coming in basically on the rests, on the third beat of each bar. Let's just hear the beginning of that. Here we go. What happens next is that the vocal comes in singing that same line. So we're going to take it up an octave, and we're going to play it a bit more melodically, maybe with some double stops. You could go up an octave again. So that happens 4 times, and then we've got Annie, Are You OK? And not until you write it out or read it do you realise that this is a 3.5 bar section. So it's in 4/4. That's 4 beats, and then we got a half bar or a 2/4 bar. The 4th time it changes. And then we're into the chorus. And this is where I think it's where you should start soloing. So you got the A minor to G to F to G. And the person I was teaching this to had come up with some kind of solo. Which is basically the arpeggios of the chords. And that's all very well, but this, it's a chord sequence which allows you a load of freedom to just choose one scale. So the scale I'm going to use is the A minor blues scale, which is the same as the C major blues scale. And I've got videos explaining that if you're not sure. So you can do all of that all the way up to the E chord when you really want to put in the G sharp. So let me just, let's take it from the beginning, and then I'll just start improvising when we get onto the chorus. So after the A minor G, F, G, we've got a section that starts on an F. This thing. It alternates between F and G. And you can still carry on with the A minor scale if you want, but starting a lot of your phrases on the F. Will fit in better with the chords, so that's what I would do. And again, watch out for the E coming up on the 6th time, I think it is. Let me just go over again the A minor blues scale. So it's the A minor pentatonic. With the addition of a flattened 5th, which is the E flat. So, and then it's just a question of coming up with lots of licks. And I do have a whole series of licks, the 1 lick 1 minute videos, which have a lot of licks. And there are videos such as the House of the Rising Sun with 20 licks, which all I think were in A minor. So it's all very well knowing the blues scale, but you really need to know some licks as well. Okay, one more thing to say. There's a kind of a breakdown in the rhythm. And that's a really good excuse for some fancy chopping. Now I said before, the easy chop is just that. The fancy chopping is another story entirely. And it took me quite a few years to get to grips with that. Let me just play a little bit of that breakdown section. Here we go. which I have to admit is absolutely just showing off. It's not much more than that. But if you'd spent 5 years learning that, I think you would want to show it off as well. You don't get many excuses or opportunities to do full-on chopping, and this indeed is one of them. So I'm going to make the most of it. So hope you found this interesting and challenging. If you want a copy of the sheet music, do subscribe to the channel and send me an email. I will give you this part, and good luck with it. I'm going to play you out with an extended improvisation. I'll do the lick and the solo, and then an extended chopping solo as well. So thanks for watching. I do have a few more Michael Jackson and similar type songs on the Fiddle channel, along with 600 or so other more standard fiddle fare. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.